I'm Natalie Cousins, first of all, for those of you who don't know me. But what I really wanted to jump on here tonight and talk about, hello, is the topic is how to make an adjustment. And I've been speaking with a lot of my newbies in the industry. And what ends up happening is you guys are transitioning from working a full time job and you're sort of morphing into your own business. And so the main question that's coming up is how to adjust, how to make the adjustment for coming from working at your home, from working your 9 to 5 to now working at home. So I just wanted to give a little insight on who I am, how I sort of transitioned from office to now working at home. So essentially, I started off working for a boutique firm. I soon decided that I wanted to have my own firm, went out and opened my own firm, and then I had to adjust in terms of schedules once I became a mother. But I'm going to just talk about the current years that have just passed and what's been going on with me and how I made the adjustment from working with my corporate clients and being full time at home. So essentially, I had my boutique firm. I was operating as a designer. I had my son and I had to regroup because at the end of the day, I didn't have the budget that I could afford a nanny. So it meant that he had to go to childcare. Childcare was 9 to 6. So I had to get everything that I needed done in terms of consultations and things like that between 9 and 6. That was working. Then I had my second daughter. I had my second child, which was my daughter, and her needs were a little bit different. So I needed to adjust again to her needs. She needed more time with me. She was later diagnosed with autism. So I had to figure out how I was going to work with my daughter who needed more of my time. So that's where working from home really became a priority for me. I didn't necessarily have a home office. I just had a location in my home where I was working. And so I had to adjust to being able to give her her needs, give my son his needs, and then still get work done. In 2011 or 12, I went back to working for commercial clients, which was more on the consulting side. So it had me having to go back into the office. So, wow, isn't that awesome, Natalie? And we have the same name. Connection. Talk about a connection. That's a connection. And if you're a Gemini, that means it's 3 and we've scored. So I'm a Gemini. But long story short, with my daughter, and I had to go back to working with my clients and going to those two particular projects required me going back and being in the office. So it meant that it was kind of like I was 9 to 5. I was consulting and I had to, you're a Pisces. All right. So I had to adjust to going back into this mode of getting up, being there at a certain time, training their agents, being at their board meetings so that we would be able to have them running a smooth time frame or a smooth machine. So what I'm saying is your brain always goes through shocks, and then at some point you kind of have to like readjust or find yourself reworking your situation. And the best thing for you to do, it's like with my daughter, if I know that we're doing something out of the ordinary or something that's not what she's used to, I have to tell her ahead of time, look, this week at this time, you're not going to do this. We're going to do this. So I find that for us as business owners, we need to do the same thing. It's kind of like if you know that you were once working a full-time job and you're going to take your business full-time, you have to have that talk with yourself, because a lot of us get self-employed and we think, oh, well, I'm my own boss and we'll set our own hours. And that laxed behavior can definitely set you up for failure. If you look at most successful individuals and multimillionaires, they don't sleep until 10. They're not necessarily setting their own hours. They have fixed hours. They're getting up at the crack of dawn. They're doing their affirmations. They're going to the gym. they are treating themselves like they were just in their corporate job, clocking in, because every minute and every second counts as an entrepreneur. So you have to make that adjustment. When we keep saying we're our own boss, we still have to remember that our clients are our bosses, because they're actually the ones paying us and cutting our checks. So if we can look professional, act professional, and play the part, then that's how we're going to win. So I wanted to talk about adjustments because I've gone through a couple. So like I said, for 4 years, I was working with 2 separate clients. I had to be at their office all the time. Majority of my life was wrapped up in that client, but it was paying me very well. And then the shift happened, and that particular contract ended, and I had to start being back at home. And I think that when my kids saw that I was back home, they were like, yay, mommy's back home. And, I brought this conversation up mainly because somebody at my son's school said, well, why do you need to come to aftercare when your mom's working from home? And it dawned on me, I'm like, imagine what the other parents are saying, because they must think I just sit at home and I'm really like doing nothing, and I just have my kids in aftercare. And in reality, I'm running a tight-whipped army machine happening here. I'm very disciplined. I wake up at a certain time. I struggle to get them to school on time, because that used to be my husband's duties. He used to get them on the bus. The bus would come at 6 o'clock, but now where we live, the school is literally across the street, and it's now my duty to get them to school. And so I'm adjusting, and I'm trying to get my kids to school on time. So when you think of the image of how people portray you, and you have to adjust, you have to show the whole world that you are an entrepreneur, you're a boss, and you're making it. You're doing what you need to do to survive, but you want to be the best, and you want to set yourself apart from everybody that's in your organization. I find that as realtors and designers, as soon as the phone rings, it's like we drop everything to go show the house or to take that consultation, but we don't have anything in place to be able to have a calendar to look at it. So when my phone rings, I can automatically, the first thing I do is I grab my phone as they're talking, and I'll look to see what I have going on. I have it as far as I'll send them my booking calendar. So at the end of the day, they can book what works for them, but they can also see I'm booked and busy as well. And what that does with that calendar is it syncs my personal calendar and my business calendar together. So that way, when somebody goes on my website to book me, they can actually see that the times that I have available. But I know if a dentist appointment popped up this morning and I've now placed it on my personal calendar, I don't need to go back and look at my business calendar to be able to see if there's any conflicts, because this app actually allows it to know when I'm available and when I'm not available. We need to start setting boundaries and standards for ourselves. I had to have the conversation with my kids. Yes, I put you in aftercare because at the end of the day, I need to get work done. When you're only going to school from 8:30 to 3, when you get home at 3, the world and the work doesn't stop for me. I still have to do it. And I put them in aftercare so that I will be able to still maintain my clients, still go out, do my decorating projects, still do my consultation projects, and as well, when I am doing real estate and I'm farming in my area, I need to know that I can only farm within this time or do my stuff within this time. So you have to let people know, yes, I'm self-employed, yes, I work from home, but that doesn't mean that I'm not home doing anything, because they're at their jobs. Can you physically pick up the phone at their job and talk to them? No, they're paid to do their job. You're trying to get consistent checks. You're trying to be a 6-figure earner. And that doesn't include the fact that you just sit at home all day and twiddle your fingers. So we have to set that expectation. I know a lot of people talk about they work at home in their pajamas and stuff like that. And for my first couple of years when I was doing it, that was me. I would have my head wrap on. I was sort of trying to, I'll get to that in just a minute of how I've been able to maintain focus. But I want to say that you got to start acting the part. Just because you work from home, don't show up in the bonnets, the head wraps, and the pajamas. If we're trying to be CEOs, if we are trying to present to everybody that we are winning, we have to start looking and feeling that part. You asked a question, I'm going to say Natalie, but I see that you're on here as Mod Punch. How I stay focused is I know what I'm seeing at the end of the tunnel. And that's so funny that you bring that up, because I have a webinar coming up. I'll post it down below. It's called Visualize Success. I'm doing it live here in Toronto, but I'm also exactly a week later doing the webinar for it. And it's on January the 24th. It's between 11 to 2 online. And I talk about visualization. I'm very clear with where I see myself. I'm very clear with how much money I want to make. I'm very clear at where I want my kids to go in terms of education, what type of life it is that I want to provide to them. I'm very clear on what I want. I'm very clear on where I'm headed. We need a roadmap to success. Without the roadmap to success, you're basically waking up every day and you're like that hamster. I talk about the good old hamster all the time, because a hamster wakes up in the morning, it's just stuck in a cage, the four walls, and they don't know that they can get exercise any other way. They just get up, eat, and go on that wheel, and they just start running it and doing the same thing over and over and over and over again. Now, one would think that the hamster would know, well, you've got these four corners. Why not walk around the perimeter of the room to make it feel like you're going somewhere? Why do you consistently get up every day and just run on that wheel? It's not taking you anywhere. So you have to be able to look through that tunnel vision and basically say, I can see where it is that I'm going. And there is a light at the end of the tunnel. But at the end of the day, can you see what's going to be at the end? Do you know what you're working for? When we talk about what we're working for, as a realtor, you might say, I want to close 100 deals this year. Okay, that's fine and dandy to close 100 deals. But what monetary value is that to you? Is it going to be 100,000? Is it going to be 200? I'm not talking your check that you get. I'm talking about what you get after your broker takes your split. As a designer, we might want to say that we want to take on, 10 design projects this year. Well, what is the value of those 10 design projects? Is it 20,000, 100,000? Is it 80 grand? You have to put numbers behind it. What are you working for at the end of the year? Are you working towards paying off your child's education, paying off your mortgage, buying that new car? What is it that you're working for? You have to be able to look at stuff and visualize it. And that's what visualizing success is all about. It's the power of visualization. It's the power of building a vision board, but it's not a board where you and I would go and sip wine and cut things out of a magazine. I'm sitting down, I'm asking you, what are your wants? What are your aspirations? What do you want to pay off? What's the monetary goal that you're looking for? If you want to buy the car, I remember when I wanted to buy my Range Rover, for argument's sake, I actually went to the dealer, looked at the Range Rover, and I could actually close my eyes and see myself driving that down the street. It's like if you see the guy of your dreams, like you see him and you can close your eyes, envision yourself kissing that person. You close your eyes, see yourself vacationing with that person, holding their hand. So at the end of the day, what are you visualizing? Are you visualizing yourself just getting up every day trying to win, or do you visualize yourself winning? That's the question. So the art of visualization is what keeps me focused. I know what it is that I want, and I'm consistently repairing my life every day. Another example is I'm trying to lose 15, 20 pounds. I used to try to do the gym in the mornings, and then something told me try to switch it to the afternoon. The afternoon didn't work. Then I started switching it to nights. The nights didn't work. So now I'm back to mornings, because I could look at myself and say, okay, when I used to do it in the morning, I was more successful. I had better outcomes. My performance was better with regards to what it was that I needed to do for work. So I did an adjustment. I made an adjustment, and I now am trying to get to the gym every morning after I drop my kids off. I circle back around to making that adjustment. My kids' school starts at 8:30. Getting to the gym is like me having to be at my job, right? So why would I mope around, try to make the lunches, trying to get them out and get them there when they need to? The longer it takes for me to get my kids to school, the longer it's going to take for me to get to work or to get to the gym. So with that being said, you have to look at making an adjustment. If you are not looking to change, or if you're not looking to adjust, you're just there. Think of the hamster again, in that hamster wheel, just spinning and spinning and spinning and not going anywhere. So what are you willing to adjust? What are you willing to look at in your life that truly will make you your best self? For me, I just took on a challenge. I'm going to do a 30-day fast. My coach has asked me not to listen to any music. I can only listen to audiobooks, if anything. I can listen to instrumental music, but I am not listening to the radio. I'm not putting in a CD. Excuse me. The only thing I will do is listen to audiobooks and listen to like jazz or instrumental. So that I'm adjusting for the better. I'm going to take in as much audiobooks as I can. Late last year, I listed 5 books that I was going to read. And I'm going to start with Think and Grow Rich and take it from there. So what are you willing to adjust? Excuse me. So once you make that decision, to make that adjustment, the sky is the limit for you for what it is that you want to do. And I think that if you can make that adjustment, if you can look at your life and look at where it is that you're trying to go, see the vision, then that's what's going to start to give you a change. So again, I'm Natalie Cousins. I am a business consultant to the interior design and real estate industry. I am actually an interior designer and a licensed realtor. I help you to avoid the burnout and the overwhelm in your business by creating systematic policies and procedures. And I help you to fall back in love with being self-employed, fall back in love with being the realtor that you dreamed of being, and fall in love with interior design again. So if you're able to join me on January the 24th, it's a Wednesday between 11 and 2, that will be my Visualize Success webinar. I'm also going to be live at Designers Walk in Toronto for the Visualize Success seminar at Designers Walk. That's on January the 17th between 11 and 2. And last but not least, if you're in the Toronto area, I have free tickets for those who would like to. Oh, great. We got to talk. We definitely got to talk. We definitely have to talk. And it is a grueling industry. And what I can tell you is when I started off in the design industry in the early 2000s, I graduated in 2002. What I could tell you was the designers that I was working for, they were very cutthroat. I was stuck in the fabric room for this one particular designer. I would drive an hour to go work for her. I became her color expert. I started doing all her layouts, and I never got any credit for any of the work that I'd done, even to just list me as the junior designer. And what she would do is she would take the name of the supplier and put a black Sharpie through it so I couldn't see who her suppliers were. But thank God I have a brain, and thank God I knew that I was destined to be more than just a junior assistant stuck in the color fabric room and picking the colors and the fabrics for her. And soon thereafter is when I went and I started my own firm at the age of 22. So at the end of the day, you have to know what you want out of life. You have to know where you see yourself. And that's why I'm talking to you about visualization. You are saying that the industry can be grueling. It can be tough, but you have to set yourself outside of the bunch. And I'll give you another little nugget. My mom's a chef. She also bakes. So whenever she's using flour, she always sifts the flour. When she's sifting the flour, when she looks back in the sifter, there are all these things that you wouldn't have even known were in the flour. Like I'm talking clobs of flour, or just things that you weren't waste. And even if you tried to harden the press on it, it wouldn't break. And I said to my mom, I'm like, who would have known that the flour had so much waste in it? And she says, well, that's why she sifts it, because if she's baking a cornbread or a banana bread or something, she wants her flour to be at its purest and cleanest. Another thing, my dad is a welder, but he used to work for a company called Red Path Sugars. He used to weld the big bins, and he used to tell me the reason why he doesn't like sugar is because they used to walk on the sugar with their dirty work boots. They used to spit in the sugar, like not him personally, but this is the things that he's seen taking place at these sugar plants for these bins that he was welding for. And so when you look and you think of setting yourself outside of everyone, you want to be the purest and cleanest form that you can be. So why do you want to be filled with toxic waste and all this stuff? You want to make sure that you're clean. So when you sift out flour, or you look at sugar and you look at it and what's left back from it, that's all the junk. You're the good stuff that's fallen through the sift. You got to be able to visualize yourself, say, I'm the best designer, I'm the best realtor. Get your name out there, set yourself aside outside of the competition, and then there'll be none, because you'll just be the only one that's able to do what it is that you're able to do. Last but not least, I'm going to be interviewed live at the Business Wealth Summit on January the 30th. The Business Wealth Summit, I have free tickets for that. So if anyone is in the Toronto area, purchases a ticket to Visualize Success webinar or seminar, you'll also get a ticket to come and watch me and be in the live studio audience, watch me being interviewed by Shireen Francis for the Shireen Francis Show. And that's basically what's up for this particular month. We're the second week into the second Monday into January. So we're out of the 52 weeks, we've just lost 2 weeks. So we have 50 weeks to make ourselves better, make an adjustment for the better. And if you are, like I said, in the design industry or the real estate industry, I'd love to work with you. I offer the discovery calls right now complimentary, as well as the clarity calls complimentary. You can go to my website, www.nataliecousins.com. Once you go to nataliecousins.com, you will then click on book online. Once you click on the book online, it will take you to my calendar. From there, you can book your complimentary call. And when you book that complimentary call, we can talk, and we can definitely clarify and discover why you were put on this earth to be the next and the best. And I'm your person for that. So do you have any questions for me, Natalie, if you're still on here? Okay. Well, again, I'm Natalie Cousins. I'd love to work with you. I am a business consultant. Oh, she's back. I'm a business consultant to the interior design and real estate industry. And if you are looking to remove the burnout or avoid burnout and overwhelm, you can contact me at www.nataliecousins.com, and you would click on book online. All right? Let's see if anyone else posted any questions in here. All right. Well, it was a pleasure, and you guys enjoy the rest of your night. Bye for now.